Yeah, we are recording this for YouTube. Is everyone cool with that? Everyone okay to be on YouTube?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So today's conversation is about books, magic books. And I just think it's an interesting thing to talk about because a lot of people read magic books, and some of the younger people, I would say, including myself, I don't read a lot of books. So it's quite interesting to talk about this subject because I think books are really good. But let's start with everyone's, maybe let's start with your name and what sort of magic you do. Just a very quick intro. Let's start with Nathan first.
Hello, I'm Nathan. And funny enough, you'll have seen me on one of the last videos on Street Performing.
Yeah.
Well, what's the other question, sorry?
No, if they've seen you before, Nathan, that's fine. You're regular on the channel, so that's cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's move on to Shelbi then. You're the first time on this channel. So tell us what you do.
Hi, thanks for having me. Well, I am a full-time street performer and I do hoop magic. So I do the Chinese linking hula hoops. So it's like a big stage effect. That's kind of like my main thing. That's why I'm the hoop magician.
Yeah.
I also make things appear and disappear inside of the hoops as if they're a portal. I do card tricks while hula hooping. So I really try and integrate the hula hoops and dancing into my show. And as magic specifically, I like manipulations, coin manipulations, card manipulations, and of course I have about 15 to 20 card tricks I can do right off the bat that are really entertaining. So close-up magic and stage magic, everything in between.
That is so original. I must say, all of you are like, if you don't know Shelbi, I'm thinking, oh, this is very interesting. I'm going to go and check out her Instagram later and see all those wonderful hoop tricks. But yes, I'll put all your details down below in the description of the video. So anyone watching this on YouTube can go and check them out. Next, we'll move on to Robbie.
Hello. So I really like stage magic at the moment. I was doing a bit of close-up magic and I'm still finding my way, I guess. But at the moment, I really like stage magic.
Yeah, that's very interesting for people at your age. And I told you this in the last video. Robbie's also a regular on the channel. And let's move on to Alex, that has been on my channel before. I've interviewed him with a proper camera sitting at the magic circle. In fact, you've been on 2 videos. No, just one. I think one video.
I think.
Yeah, one. In case people haven't seen that video, give a quick introduction.
Well, I'm Alex, and I do magic whilst doing a hula hoop on the streets of London. No, I don't. I'd love to be... I can't hula hoop. That, to me, that sounds like magic in itself.
I know, but it's so cool.
You see people love that. And you do it with, I guess you're those people who, you can do it without sort of a minimum of movement, I guess. I'm there giving it a maximum, and it doesn't work.
I could do it on my nose.
Just
yeah, but
crazy.
But that's only one version.
Anyway.
Because usually when you think of hula hoops, you think of the just around your waist. But you do stuff with the hands, isolation, and all of that sort of stuff. So it's a very different. It's a whole different genre, I would say. Yeah, sorry, Alex, go ahead.
Circus.
Yeah.
I have done linking hula hoops before, though. By the way, so you're
really?
Not
Cool.
I basically I do comedy magic. Really, that's what I do. Probably try.
And tell them.
I guess I probably aim. I'd rather. Go on.
No. I was just going to say, tell them what you told me the last one where you never perform something twice. Or
yeah, I never perform anything twice, really. So I'll come up with something and I'll go and perform it. Some stuff makes the gig. Sometimes it's been a year in the making, but basically most of my stuff only gets the one performance. And a lot of my rehearsal just happens in my head, really. I just plan for it and script it in my head. And so there's a lot of ad-libbing going on, a lot of freedom. And I think that what I like about it is it makes me as surprised as anybody when the trick's worked. So I can't look cocky or anything or smug. I'm just chuffed with myself, and I think that comes across as the audience that it's a lot of fun and discovery for everybody.
That's very interesting because I've never heard that before. You're the first person who told me that, because normally, and I guess with Shelbi too, we practice so hard until we get something right, and then we still think, oh, I think it's not ready to put on stage. In terms of tricks, where do you research these tricks or books, or where do you look? Does anyone jump in?
Yes.
Yeah, Nathan. Yeah.
Just because I've got the book stash here.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, might as well say. I mean, it's a question of always. I think you should always look around and see what books other magicians have. I mean, a lot of the books I've got here were from when I pretty much started out,
And I guess the question is, what books should you get when you start out in Magic? And we're obviously moving towards the digital world, and there's a lot more DVDs out there as well. But just to summarize, basically, I just got pretty much what a lot of people say are the Bibles in Magic, as well as a couple of other things here that are not called the Bibles, but I think they're really good. So there's a lot of books that you're told you should read, and before you start going out and performing. And because there's a lot of foundations and fundamentals in there, not necessarily basic things in there, but stuff that pretty much as a magician that you should know.
Okay, so give us the names of the books, and then we'll ask everybody if they have anything to add to that collection.
So the first book I've got here, I'm gonna group these three together, by the way, for reasons. This is the Royal Road to Card Magic, which is pretty much actually pretty much the first book that I actually read when getting into Magic. It's known as one of the Bibles of Magic. There's 4 Bibles of Magic they talk about, and this is the first book you should read. There's a lot on there on a lot of fundamentals and foundations in terms of card sleights as well. Once you read that book, and it is also it's got a full word, I think, by Michael Bailey, who was president of the Magic Circle a few years ago. So in fact, it's got the Magic Circle certificate on there essentially.
Nice.
Yeah, they've got that. You've also got, this is by Hugard and Browie, and Jean Hugard and Frederick Browie. The next book is also by them. This is called Expert Card Technique, which is technically the book you should then read after this one. This is actually, funny enough, this was written before the Royal Road to Card Magic. This is actually a later edition. But yeah, they still say that in terms of how advanced the books are, you should read this one first, then you should read this one. And this one, which is not actually by Hugard and Browie, but this is Erdnase, the expert of the card table. A lot of magicians actually know the name Erdnase. And this is there's quite a bit on there on like gambling, sleights and everything. Still some foundation of card magic on there. But that's the book you should read after Expert Card Technique, is what they're saying. So it's really again, this is what I've been told. Some people there might disagree actually when it comes to that. Well, they might have jumped straight into reading one of them if one of them catches your eye particularly. There's no rule against that, but that's just what I've been told. There's also Bobo here, Modern Coin Magic, a very common one.
That's good.
Yeah, this one here's another one known as a Bible. It's by JB Bobo. Again, there's also got a lot of fundamentals in there on coin stuff, some tricks. There's tricks and sleights in all of them as well. But the one thing I find about all these books, they're quite. I mean, some of the language you might have noticed in there is actually quite archaic to any magicians who have read them. So, but they're still really useful. You got to. I mean, with these books, there's actually there's very few books where I just say read everything and try and learn everything. I mean, you may not. I mean, there may not be things you'll use now, but at least try and learn everything inside these books. But there's some which no doubt do have a simpler language in the books as well. And there's some which have got some foundations. This one's great, in my opinion. This is Nicolas Einhorn. Shout out to Nick, by the way, if you're watching this. How to Do Magic Tricks. Nick's written quite a few books. This is one of them that I've got. And I really like it as well. Like, what I like about this, there's a lot of professional style tricks in there as well. It's not like tricks which are so-called kids tricks. But basically, the way the layout is basic, which is good. There's a lot of illustrations in here, some actual photographs as well as some there, which is the book's really easy to understand. And there's some things which are similar to things like Royal Road and Bobo's in there, but it's all kind of broken down a little bit more. And the last one I've got here, which is more specialised, and this is if you're into street magic. And this is actually because I've got this here because so many things I've got are DVDs, but we're not here to talk about DVDs. To talk about books.
We'll do another one with DVDs.
Sure, yeah. I'm doing that one as well. Yeah, there's a lot of DVDs here. But from that, this is Gazzo's Street Cups and Balls. One of my favourites. Because this is not just about the cups and balls in there, which is a lot of magicians will know. Even a lot of lay people will know this as well, the cups and balls. But it's not just about that, as well as Gazzo's routine, which is Gazzo's pretty much sold his cups and balls routine. But there's stuff in there about timing, about lines, and a lot of things as well. And what type of table you should get, about extras, where to set up. All of this is second to none. If you're a street performer, not only that, there's definitely some things you can find in your hat as a magician as well. You can obviously learn the cups and balls in here, basic moves. You can learn the advanced. And there's a lot you can take home from this. But it's, like I say, it's a bit more specialised than the other ones. And I digress. If anybody's got any questions, whatever you want to do, Brendan.
So if you said Gazzo's put his routine with the cups and balls out there in the book, and you use his jokes or whatever, I'm guessing is that now public domain? Just because let's say if you're a street performer and you're doing a trick that Gazzo, or a line that Gazzo has mentioned in his book with the comedy, the timing, and that sort of thing, and the other person says, "Oh, are you trying to copy me?" You could just point out to the book and say, "Look, Gazzo's published that, so I'm allowed to do that." Is that doable? I mean, I don't know.
I think basically this is funny because a lot of performers and magicians have a lot of debates on this about the whole kind of so-called copying thing. I think I would go by the rule. I mean, if it's been sold, it's been sold, and you have the right to do it exactly the way that Gazza performs it. Yeah. There's a lot of people who do perform it the way Gazza performs it, but if you look at every performer that does perform the Gazza routine, there's often like little twists in there. And I'm going to say this right now, Gazzo is a very cutthroat performer. He's got a lot of jokes, and a lot of people can't get away with saying things like that. But it fits him, it fits his character. Again, some people might disagree on that, but there's certain things you might want to do a bit more watered down, or you put your own spin and personality on it. And also, again, you find your own pitch a lot of the time as well as a street performer as well. So you perform the routine, possibly in a place where no one else is performing it. But like I say, as long as you put your own twist on it, and that's just that. I think that just goes to a rule general of performing magic or in performance. Try and be original as much as you can. This is a great routine because it works, but always try and find your character with it, and don't just do something because you read it out of a book. The line's got to fit your character, and the move to a lesser extent as well has also got to fit your personality and your character. Because if you're being somebody you're not, then that's not going to work. And people can tell that.
Sounds good. Anyone have any questions about that?
I would
any
say.
Suggestions? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I would say I'm not sure some of those lines are necessarily Gazzo's originally either. I think that's one of those things with street performers where a lot of the lines have developed over the last, many years, and no one can really remember where they heard it first. So I think that is one issue I've got with street performing. I find I mean, I'm not attacking Nathan or Gazzo or anyone. I'm always surprised how you see very similar routines and hear the same lines when really you would have thought being on the street you could do anything. I mean, you've got the most freedom there possible. So I do find that a bit odd, and I wonder whether or not publishing those lines, they're possibly not Gazzo's. I know Noel Britton's probably the only person I know who's ever linked a hat line back to someone. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, yes, don't you've got to deliver lines as you.
I've also got, a PDF about Gazzo's actually written the whole book on lines called Read Between the Lines, which is I've got in PDF form, obviously. He does say things from someone else as well, so he does credit that. So yeah, but there's can't really say too much about that. Obviously, I mean, if he's credited them, I think he's credited them. But yeah, I mean, I will say, Alex, there's a lot of performers that have debates about this. Like I said at the beginning, that people who's the originator of what and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Sounds good. Let's move on to Shelbi.
Hey guys. Well, a little backstory. I was just visiting my dad in New Jersey for a bit, and I kind of got stuck here because of the quarantine. He's not letting me go anywhere. So I left a lot of my magic books at home, but I do actually have a couple of Gazzo books too. I have Read Between the Lines, and yeah, a lot of them. Most of them, are Gazzos, but yeah, it's also like, stock lines. And I always remember the one like where he says to someone wearing a tie-dye shirt, he says, "Oh, did you forget to did you mix the colors with the whites this morning, sir?" or something. This is really funny. Yeah. But right now I'm making do with what I have. So I did manage to bring a little Bible version of Expert at the card table.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I've been into magic for almost 4 years now, and I still haven't read it yet. So I think this is a perfect time to read it.
Quite different.
Go over the tricks.
Yeah. And he's then showing off now.
And then I just bought online for $10 a copy of I'm Getting Into Mentalism. 13 Steps.
Okay, that's a very popular one, I heard.
Yeah, and I've been really getting into mentalism and learning more about it. It's probably one of the later things I'm getting into. And then I was looking through their book collection, and I actually found this really old Chris Angel book. So it has like some tricks. Yeah, and it's really good. He shows you how to like bend spoons and stuff, and I'm just gonna read it because when I was I'm kind of young. I'm 24, and when I was 13 years old, that's when Chris Angel, he had this TV show, and I was like totally in love with him and stuff. Just coming from a female's perspective. but I mean, it's not too shabby. He has a lot of tricks in the back, like a lot of classics. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, I like to check them out, and like this one where you tear 2 cards. But yeah.
So that's good. Interesting. Let's move on to Robbie.
So my favorite book.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are with performance, and so Magic and Showmanship is one I'm reading now. Yesterday I finished The Show Doctor, so that's quite easy to read.
Right. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's my favorite.
Yeah. This one's quite hard to read because it's got loads of things which I guess are quite hard to digest, but this is split up really nicely in different chapters, and it's quite easy to read. Also, Maximum Entertainment, and then the trick books I like are the Tardo Course in Magic, because that's got so many different tricks. And then Mark Wilson's Complete Course in Magic is also a good one. Other than that, I don't have many books, but those are my favorites so far.
Okay, good stuff. Any opinions on that? Anyone else? You all happy with that? Yeah? Any comments? Okay, let's move on to Alex then.
Well, I can't actually show you my book. I'm trapped at my mum's at the moment.
You don't need to show us anything. Just tell us the names or the author, and that should be fine.
So David Regal has been a big influence on me, and luckily enough, I came across his book Approaching now, or 10 years ago, whenever it came out, and I just loved it. He uses different lines or different words. It's hard to explain, but his pattern's highly unusual, and his storylines are unusual. And he's not scared to use big props or silly props. And so that took me in this direction of going, okay, so magic can be done with anything, you know? So, and also be funny. So he just made me slightly being eccentric and doing the things that I want to do, knowing that I didn't have to use the standard props. So I know you've seen my chop cup routine, Brendan, which is a hot chocolate cup rather than a normal cup. And he had this wonderful routine called Will the Socks Match, which I really like. So it's all based on a joke, and you bring on your sock drawer, and you pull socks out of it. And I love the idea of just coming on stage with a sock drawer. Yeah, I went from there, really. And I had to develop it. So basically, because one of the things is he mentions don't look at the magazine, you have a spectator hold it. And he says don't mention the magazine at the bottom of the drawer, which is obviously an old joke for those people who remember magazines in print of a certain style and top shelf magazines. So I had to change that. I changed that recently into having my my wife's underwear drawer, and at some point something just starts vibrating in the drawer. So you can bring things up to date. But I just play with, and a lot of my inspiration comes from pictures, comes from images or jokes. I usually start off with the joke that's got a punchline, like my Guess Who routine. I liked the idea of trying to figure out who someone would sleep with in Guess Who, and that was the joke really. So that just turns into a mentalism routine.
Oh, that's
and that
great.
all came really from reading Approach Magic and how he approached magic.
Wow, that's amazing. So you come up with the joke first, and you think what's funny, like walking off with your sock drawer, and then you create a routine around that. Is that what you normally do when you create magic? Yeah,
exactly that. It's really weird, and I heard something Ring Clan said, which someone told him, which was, you don't need to worry about the method or the magic, because you're a magician, you know that bit. What you need to work out is the plot or what you want to say, because that's the bit we're not good at. We need a bigger imagination. We can look up how to make a card go from one hand to another or whatever. But we can't look up our inspiration. So my inspiration comes from, because I'm a comedian, if I find a funny joke, like the chocolate cup, I liked the idea of just seeing how much chocolate you could came from that. So yeah, it's finding that inspiration. I think, and that can come from a picture as well. I do a whole trick with a bin on my head just because I did it at a garden centre. He took a picture of it, and I thought that looks hilarious. I want to stand on stage with a bin on my head. Went from there.
But I still think that's the second stage. So the first stage is, like you said, knowing the method. So the things that Nathan said and Shelbi, including Robbie too, you get the basics in magic with most of those books, and then later when you want to move on to performance, then you move on to books like this. Right, so these are for non-magicians, people who are not magicians, because this is YouTube, and as I said, I love inspiring people to get into magic. So, is there any books that show you how to be creative, where they teach you how to come up with these weird plots? Anyone have any ideas on that? Or is that just your creativity? You just got to take ideas from here and there.
I think.
Sorry, who was that? Nathan, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying a lot of it does seem to be, when it comes to the books, a lot of it I think is common sense in a way. Like, I mean, you read the books, that's just their take on it, and then you decide whether you want to do something or not. I mean, for sure, there's books out there that tell you how to create things, and things like how to write your own joke or create a trick even. But I think, yeah, I guess it would kind of defeat the object if you had a book that was telling you how to be creative, because you do that yourself, really, haven't you? Creativity is pretty much all in your own workings and your own findings.
Oh, I was just saying, to be creative, I sort of look at things that are quite personal to me. So I could bring things from what she said to me, or I've got children, so some of my things might involve. So I had Guess Who liner. So things from my life come out on stage. I'm going through something as well. If I'm about to, I don't know, if I was about to birth, I'd be doing something with baby clothes coming along. So I'm very much influenced by that, and also I give myself time. I'll listen to a whole album, just quietly listen to the album, let my mind wander, and if it comes up with something, then brilliant. If it doesn't, then it will next time. So sometimes I think you find the creative things when you're not looking for them.
Yeah. Also, this is just reminded me of something in actually the Gazzo book, the Gazzo Book Explorer, actually. You actually told in, I think it's read between the lines, that you're told a lot of these lines won't suit you. So from that point of view, the fact that you've literally got to pick and choose the lines you want, and that's already being creative in itself anyway, because you're realizing what fits you and what doesn't. Yeah.
Okay. So Nathan,
I've tried changing every word in the pattern before as well. That's been a challenge. So, you can't say pick a card or.
I like that. That's a great challenge for people out there to try and do that, Yeah, I like that. Alex has got some great ideas, man. Okay, I think Nathan wanted to show us something from the book. So this is a trick that you're doing from a certain book, right?
Yeah. I'm going to put this down here so I can see.
Okay.
Right.
Boy, you had nothing on for a minute, though.
I know, I thought the same.
Say that as well. Sorry, it's just lazy isolation clothes. It's just gym shorts, actually. This is actually from the Royal Road to Card Magic in itself.
Okay.
One of the first tricks I learned, and just a little bit of background about it. There's a lot of adaptations of it that have happened over the years as well. Like, there's been a lot, because don't forget, when you've got these older books, there's been a lot of improvement over the years. There's been a lot of adaptation. I'm going to perform it pretty much, not necessarily what people might believe is the best way, but the way that it is pretty much performed in the book. And it's going to be hard because we don't have anybody to literally choose a card. But Brendan, you're going to have to trust me on this, all right?
Sure. Yes.
I'm going to run through the cards. As I do so, can you just say stop?
Okay. Stop.
Brilliant. Okay. Remember that card? Can you see it, by the way?
Yep.
Can you see it on the camera?
Yes.
So there's a lot of ways that magicians can mix up a pack of cards. One way is to simply cut them, which is like that. There's another way, which is the riffle shuffle.
Yeah.
But these shuffles are actually taught in the book itself, in Royal Road to Card Magic.
Okay.
So that's the overhand shuffle as well. But there's one way which magicians shuffle cards in a certain way, but you never see people on like normal people, like lay people as they call them, shuffle cards. This is actually called the slot shuffle. So you're mixing some cards face up, some face down, some face up, some face down, some face up, some face down, and so on. In fact, we're just going to give them a little bit more of a mix as well, just to jazz this up a little bit more. So mixing cards face up to face down. That's the premise of it. So we've got cards this way, this way. I don't even know by now because they're completely higgledy-piggledy mess. But being a magician, all I have to do is cast a little shadow over the deck and snap my fingers. And if I spread through, see the whole deck has actually sorted itself out except for one card over here. With a bit of luck, Jack of Hearts. Was that it?
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and that is, I will say the name on here without tipping the method. That is a tipsy trick. I don't know what page it's on, but it's I think it's pretty early on in the book.
Okay, and that's one of the first things that I learned in card magic too.
Me too.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. So let's move on to Shelbi next. Do you have anything to show us?
Yeah, I'll show you guys a card trick I've been working on. It doesn't always work, but we could try our best.
Okay. Okay.
So the regular deck, we're gonna use one special card. This card's gonna be our bullet card. Okay. How about we use the Ace of Diamonds? This is my favorite card. You guys can
Sounds
see
good.
it.
Yeah.
I got a bit of a glare. And then I'm going to take the cards and do what Nathan did. I'm going to do actually what they call a Pharaoh's shuffle. So get all the cards one by one in between. Quite perfect. And then I'm going to go through the cards, and I just want you guys to stop on a card, okay?
Okay.
Ready, set, go.
Stop. Stop.
Stop right there?
Yeah.
You guys all got that one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, you guys like guns? Because I'm going to turn this cards into a gun.
Wow.
And like I said, we have one card that's going to be the bullet, okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to load it into the gun right here. See?
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, once I load the bullet, here it comes. Oh, you guys see that?
Yeah. The card flew out.
One card fell out of the deck. Ready?
Yeah. And that is a card. Yes. That is
So
great.
that one you would perform more so like standing up because the card like really shoots out, and then it usually lands on when it lands on the floor like face down. I'm like, I don't even want to touch it. You guys grab it, you know.
Yeah.
It's a cute little trick my friend David taught me.
Okay, so is that from a certain book?
I actually don't know. I mean, I'm
Okay.
sure it might be in a book, but
And anyone got any ideas? Which one, Robbie or Alex? Any ideas? Because I've seen that ages ago, but I don't remember the name of the trick. But I'd
I
seen
just
that.
call it like the gun trick or something.
Okay,
like
I don't know
that.
how to do it, but I'd seen it ages ago. So let's end with one book do you recommend someone? Now we've gone through all the possible books, but just one book for coin magic. Bobos, that's what we all go for. Bobos.
Yeah.
One book. Yeah, Alex.
If I only had one book for coin magic, it would be Coins and Other Fables by Louis Padredra or someone.
Okay, interesting. It's great that we're putting all these names out there so people can watch the video and actually Google these names or research them. Nathan, what about you? Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna I was gonna say, as well as Bobos here, there's a lot of. I just want to add a very little thought on this. There's a lot of people say about exposure of magic. You can just go and find it on these free platforms out there and everything. But the thing is, these books are actually fairly inexpensive when it comes to it. They're not going to cost you a fortune. But you have years worth of magic in there. That's my take anyway on whole situation. I'm not going to go into much exposure, but you can genuinely learn. It's not just about the money. It's about you can genuinely learn from this.
No, that's totally, because someone could say, "Oh, here's a book for free." So is that exposure? But it's a fine line. But anyway, we've already done a video on that. We might do another one later in the future. Exposure. That's a big topic.
Yeah. It's more about you can get these books for not that expensive. And you've got a year's worth of magic in there. You can. I've not even finished reading through all this yet, to be honest.
Okay. So what about card magic? What books do we recommend? Is expert at the card table for card magic? Anyone else has another suggestion? Royal Road, Royal Road. Okay.
Yeah, same thought as Bobos.
Okay.
Card. I mean, I much preferred Card College once I got it. I did start off with Royal Road, but I found Card College much easier. I've gone back to Card College a lot.
I'm sure people in the comment section also have their own opinions of this. This is great. That's why it's great to have comments.
This Card College. There's a lot of debate out there because there's a bit of an overlap there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
What about comedy magic? Anyone? Robbie, you have anything with stage performance?
Well, Tarbell has so much, which is why I think it's such a great series of books, because it's got cards, it's got coins, and it probably has loads of comedies too. So I think Tarbell.
So thank you very much for joining me in this conversation about books. So if you're watching at home this video and you're thinking, you know what, I would like to come on this channel and talk about something, feel free. It will be on my Instagram, where I'll be posting what I'm going to be talking about. And feel free to join in the conversation and be part of this lovely, every 2 days a new video on YouTube, so you can be part of this conversation. All right, thanks everyone for joining me. Have a wonderful time wherever you are. Take care. Bye-bye, everyone.